Hey everybody, welcome to the 68th SongBike YouTube Guitar Q&A live stream. Hey everybody, my name is Jonathan. Welcome. We got 3 likes already. I like your attitude. 3 likes before the live stream has even started. Awesome. And I see a bunch of people are tuned in. A bunch of people are watching. So let's do it. Let's do it. I hope you had a great week. I had a great week. Let me tell you what we're going to do today. First of all, I'm here for your questions, of course. If and when you have a question for me, put a bunch of question marks in advance of your questions so I know it's aimed at me. In between your questions, here's what's on the agenda. We have a poll question. The poll question is, what's your number 1 goal when you pick up your guitar? Is your number 1 goal to play the guitar as well as you possibly can? Maybe. What about writing songs using the guitar as your vehicle? Maybe that's your number 1 goal. Maybe you just want to have a cool hobby, right? Perfectly great reason to play the guitar. Or option 4, other. And if you are voting in the other category, let us know what that other is. Okay, that's our poll question. Other things that are on the agenda tonight, in between your questions, the one guitar thing that no one can do. We got to talk about that. What I would ask a neuroscientist. I talk about brain stuff a lot, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm taking guesses, throwing darts in the dark. I wish I could ask a neuroscientist a bunch of questions, and I'm going to share those questions with you. A new category, a new segment of the show is going to be called, What the Heck is This? You'll understand when I show you and I ask you, what the heck is this? Why I record my mistakes and why you should too. That's an important thing. I'll talk a little bit about my new book. I got a new book. In case you haven't heard, I write a book once in a while. And I've been working on this little book called the SongBike Chord-Melody Songbook Vol.1, and it's finally done. It's for sale, and you can get it right now. It's an ebook. That means it doesn't come in the mail with your junk mail. It means it gets delivered to you instantly at whatever email address you provide. So you're going to want to get a copy of this book because it's great. We'll talk a little bit about that book today. A segment I call Who's in Town? And that's where I ask the question, who's in town? Because there's a little theater right across the street, and some interesting people are coming through town. I'm going to share some info about them and some links to their videos. Free noise is a little thing I'm going to turn you on to, and I'm calling it free noise. And you'll see what free noise is all about. Oh, let's see. The FDA, how the FDA made me a better guitar player. We got a song of the week. We got my own dumb question of the week. And I think, the major blues scale. All right. Now, if we get through all that stuff, I bet we'll fill up our time so well. I'm going to say a few hellos. Time Surfing Alien, TSA, hello. Christian from Denmark, hello. Scott, hello. Scott, you mentioned that you had a great experience with Sweetwater today. Hey, you want to maybe talk to us a little bit about what you were going to buy that the Sweetwater rep talked you out of buying? Is it something that we all should know about? Why not? Let us know. Our moderator is Beginner Guitar Lessons, and Beginner Guitar Lessons name is in blue with a wrench, and that's how you know Beginner Guitar Lessons is a moderator. So let's get right down to it. Let's not even fool around today. How did the FDA make me a better guitar player? Thought you'd never ask. FDA. Check it out, FDA. What did you think I was talking about? The Food and Drug Administration. Christian, you may not be 100% familiar with U.S. government agencies. So, Christian, for your benefit, the FDA here in the U.S. is the Food and Drug Administration. And hello, Tommy from Finland. Alan from the UK. Hey, you guys. Okay, so those of you outside the U.S., the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, they're a government group that I'm sure they always act with our best interests, and they tell us how to be healthy, I guess. But we have the FDA right here, so let's get right down to it. You got your guitar handy? I hope so. Okay, let's get this guitar in the shot right here. By the way, those of you who have made super chat donations in the past, we're now all reaping the benefits. Look at how bright that black marker is. Where's the one I used? Do I have it right here now? It's maybe in the other room. Anyways, FDA. thanks to the Sharpie fund, you guys have helped me purchase some nice new black markers. Okay, so what's going on here? How did the FDA help me? Well, the FDA has a map. This is the FDA, the guitar FDA. What do you think of that? Everything I just played was an F major chord, an F major triad, if you want to sound academic. I played one down here. I played one up at the 5th and 6th frets. And I played one up at the 8th and 10th frets. All of those are F chords. If someone asks you to play an F chord, you can play any one of those. Most of us, we gravitate immediately down here to first position. We grab our F chord, maybe do it as a bar chord, however you do F chord. F chords, whether you're super successful with F or you're still working on F, that's the go-to one. But did you know you could play an F chord that feels like a D chord? So I put the letter D there in quotes, right? It's an F chord, trust me, but it feels like a D, okay? An F chord that feels like an F, an F chord that feels like a D, an F chord that feels like an A. Okay, now how is that an A? On your 3 treble strings, you have 8 on the first skinny string, and then 10 on the second and 10 on the third. How does that relate to an A chord? Because if I glide back far enough, keeping that same form, ultimately my index comes off the guitar and my other 2 fingers are exactly where our fingers need to be for an F chord, for an A major chord. Imagine doing an A major chord, but with your middle ring and pinky. Sounds the same as any other way of doing an A, any other fingering of an A, right? So that 0-2-2 is 100% related to an A major chord. So that's why up at 8-10-10, there we go. For lack of any other name, we call that an A shape. I realize that most of us think that A has 3 nice fingers in a row. So this might be a little bit jarring for you, but anyways, that's the name of that shape, the A shape. Okay, so check it out. F with an F shape. Now here's a significant visual thing. 2 empty frets. See how there's nothing at the 3rd fret or 4th fret? If you can simply memorize that you have 2 empty frets, you can jump quickly from this F to that F. F, skip over those 2 frets and grab what feels like a D chord, but it's not a D chord, it's an F chord, it's the D formation. Now you can do that the way I indicated right here, F to another F. But don't forget that relationship works anywhere. Let's say instead of doing the F chord here, what if we slid that up 2 frets? It was an F triad, an F chord, up 2 frets, that's a G chord. Okay, you with me? But that relationship, the relationship that's indicated on here, stays the same. I'm doing that little chord. I'm going to skip over those 2 frets, and I'm going to grab what feels like a D chord, but it's actually another G chord. I had G here and G here. It's exactly 2 frets higher from what I just said. So if you can memorize, by the way, you notice that this is FDA, right? The order is FDA, like the Food and Drug Administration. If you can memorize that the F formation leads to the D formation, alpha, FDA, Food and Drug Administration, as long as you skip over 2 frets, you can take this relationship anywhere. Just that I'm playing 2 B flat chords. Okay, simply because I know there's the F grip first and the D grip second, and I have to leave 2 empty frets in between. Okay, now if this is going too fast, I get you. Don't worry, you can come back and revisit this. Simply practicing what's on the page here is a huge start. Okay, so we got the F that feels like an F. We skip over 2 frets and we have an F that feels like a D. Now we only have to skip up 1, let's call that an empty fret. Just skip 1 empty fret and I'm at an F major chord with the A formation, this 8-10-10 business. Okay, so we have F that feels like an F, F that feels like a D, and F that we are calling an A formation. Okay, your ability to zip through what's right there, just up and down the neck, is huge. So my advice is to do that first. Take your time, do it slowly. By the way, your ear will tell you right away if anything is wrong. That's a beautiful thing about anything involving major chords, major scales, major arpeggios. Most of us have heard major stuff for our whole lives. And hey, Matt. Hey, Winston. Booba John, hello. Joseph, hello. If anything falls apart along the way, if one of your fingers slips, they slip out of the formation, or if you don't go up enough frets or whatever, your ear, it's a beautiful thing. You're going to be frustrated that you're making a mistake. I get it. We all are. But it's so great that your ear can tell instantly that you're making a mistake and you can stop and fix it. Okay, so there's your homework. Okay, as that becomes more comfortable, move everything up 2 frets. You know, all those F chords become G chords, right? And so on and so on. This relationship is always there. Oh, by the way, for extra credit, you do the F as the F chord, the F that feels like a D chord, the F that feels like an A chord. Technically, I didn't put it on the paper, but technically, you're back. If you go a little bit higher, skip over 2 frets. I'm skipping over the 11th and 12th frets, and I'm back to F that feels like an F chord up here at 13 and 14. You've come full circle. F, D, A, F. Ooh, in hindsight, I kind of wish I'd made this smaller so I could put that on there, because how complete, doesn't that sound complete? Now I know those of you playing acoustic guitars, it gets kind of hairy up there, up the 13th and 14th frets I get. By the way, you guys okay with that? I am exactly 12 frets higher from where I started. And 12 frets on the guitar, musically, it's an octave. We think of it as 12 frets, but our ear hears a 1 octave jump. 12 frets is an octave. By the way, the number 12 shows up a lot in society, right? 12 months of the year, 12 eggs in a dozen. Didn't Jesus have 12 disciples, right? 12 inches to a foot, supposedly. The reason the number 13 is considered unlucky is because 12 is considered so perfect. And 13 is considered like painfully close to 12, but not 12. Who knows? So 12 angry men. There are 12 people in a jury. That's right? 12 people in a jury. Is that right? Here in the States, our jury system. Beginning guitar lessons is reminding me, my nickname for these is bite-sized chords, right? Halloween's coming up, right? Halloween, handing out that little bite-sized candy. Yeah, bite-sized chords. Okay, so your homework is exactly what it says in this paper. F in the F formation. Skip up 2 frets. F in the D formation. Skip up 1 fret. F in the A formation. So when I say skip up, to some of you that totally makes sense. Others that it might be more helpful to think of it as go past 2 frets. You know, leave 2 frets empty and then form the next thing. Leave 1 fret empty and then form the next thing. And if you're brave, leave 2 frets empty and you'll be 1 octave higher. Okay, and that's how the FDA made me a better guitar player. There you go. And I bet we return to this subject. Well, here's the final piece of information. And then I see we have a question here from Joseph. Joseph, I'll get to your question in a minute. This relationship, this whole F, then D, then A, This relationship holds true even if the first thing you grab is not the F chord. Here's what I mean. I'm grabbing D major the way we always play it, right? D major. Anytime you grab anything that feels like a D, including the actual D chord, you can find another D by skipping past one fret and forming that thing right there. So D major, that feels like a D. I'm skipping past the 4th fret and I'm forming the next in line. I'm forming that A formation at 5, 7, 7. So D that feels like D, skipping over the 4th fret, D that feels like an A chord. I know it's not the exact way you think of A, but you got it. Remember when we got here, we skipped up 2 frets and we did the F formation. So I'm here, my 5, 7, 7. I'm going to skip past 8 and 9 and form my F formation at 10, 10, 11. It's another D chord. D that looks like D. D in the A formation. D in the F formation. So get it. F, D, A, F, D, A, F, D, F, D, A. Keeps continuing in that pattern regardless of where you jump in, right? Okay. I bet we come back to this in the future. Tonight, we are not sponsored by Rogers Orchards. Apple cider, 100% all natural. A pint of apple cider, pressed and bottled by New England Apple Products, Leominster, Mass. Out here where the zip codes start in 0. Did we invent zip codes out here on the East Coast? I don't think that's how it works. But we got them. All right. So there you go. Okay. Joseph is asking a great question. Joseph says he got the book. You did. Excellent, Joseph. I got it too right here. I got it handy. Joseph said he got the Mel Bay book on chords and scales and arpeggios. Nice. He says, okay, so what do I do with it? What scale should I work on first? Excellent question. By the way, the ultimate goal is to practice every scale in the book purely for the exercise. Secondarily, it will open your ear up a bit because you'll be playing weird sounding scales. And that's a good thing, you know. Scales where you might not even know if you're playing it right because it sounds a little foreign, a little exotic, however you want to put it. And that's a good thing. Okay, so where you asked, what scale should I work on first? I mean, I hate to sound so obvious. Okay, there's the scale section, major scales. There you go. 4 C major scales that get you up the neck from open strings in 1st and 2nd, 3rd frets up to 7, 8, 9, and 10. I mean, start right there. You'll never regret practicing scales of any kind, especially if your picking hand does them with down, up picking, alternate picking. Definitely do that, okay? Because that gives your picking hand something to work on that's important, just like your fretting hand is working on some important stuff. It's not about when are you going to use those scales. Remember back in school, you said, when am I ever going to use this? You always need something to make your left hand, your fretting fingers, faster and more confident. And scales are the absolute best way to make your fretting fingers faster and more confident. So whatever you hope to pursue on the guitar, you're going to need fast, confident fretting fingers, right? And there's nothing better than scales for that. Although arpeggios are really, really good too. It's a very close second. Bill Clinton is in the chat. Bill Clinton says, hey, what's up? Hey, Bill. Now, I stand by everything I just said. This book, I love it so much. On page 59, rock scales. I love that they call minor pentatonic scales rock scales, and then in parentheses they write minor pentatonic. They are rock scales, and that's an extremely user-friendly description, right? Yeah, let's learn some rock scales, which happen to be also known as minor pentatonic scales. Okay. If major scales, aren't where your soul is, if they just sound too pretty for you, you 100% have my permission to skip ahead to the rock scales. You still should practice every scale in the book. But for many, many, many of us, the rock scales, the minor pentatonic scales, are absolutely the most practical scales to practice. You will never regret time spent with any kind of pentatonic scales. There's major pentatonic scales, there's minor pentatonic scales, but this book covers the whole, everything you need. What was I going to say? These you will use in almost any style of popular music that you're into. Rock, country, folk music, bluegrass, pop music, you name it. You're always going to need pentatonic scales. And this is, the section of the book for you. So I would never discourage someone from skipping ahead and doing those if you're just a rocker, and man, that is where your heart is. You'll never regret doing that. Very quickly, without getting too hung up, a minute ago I said there's major pentatonic scales and minor pentatonic scales, and this section is labeled, minor pentatonic scales. You might say, well, wait, where's the major pentatonic scales? How am I going to say this? It's all the same. An A minor pentatonic has an alter ego. It's also known as a C major pentatonic. So without getting too much into the music theory there, just know that someone who can play minor pentatonics, you can automatically play major pentatonics, only the name will change. But what your fingers do, the shape of the scale, I'll use this one right here, the shape of the scale, it is you decide if it's major or minor. And if it's minor, it has one name. If it's major, it has another name, but it's still the same bunch of notes. And someday we'll tease that apart, just because I don't want to leave you guys hanging there. But to my knowledge, this book doesn't have a section on major pentatonics because they are, I guess they're assuming that you know what I just said. So if rock scales are identified as minor pentatonics, then what are major scales? Major pentatonic scales. I mean, major pentatonic scales do show up in rock tunes. The happier the rock song is, the more likely you are to hear a major pentatonic. So I can already feel I'm muddying the waters, and some of you are like, wait, what's going on? Remember, the number one reason I encourage you guys to all practice this book, the number one reason is all the great exercise your fretting fingers are going to get, and all the great down up picking that your picking hand is going to do, right? Down up, right? Secondarily, I would hope that you would find a way to use scales for soloing. Thirdly, scales are a great way to understand music theory. So there's a whole lot of benefits you get from pursuing scales. But without a doubt, and this is why I'm saying, hey, you can practice any scale you feel like. Without a doubt, it's great exercise. There's no better way to get to know your instrument, saxophone, tuba, flute, electric wazoo, whatever you play in the privacy of your own home. There's no better way to learn to get familiar with that instrument than playing scales constantly. Poopa John wants to know about the strap locks. Yeah, what are these strap locks? Were these the Jim Dunlop original strap lock? Why did I pick these? They look good, got good reviews. Dunlop has always made good stuff. There's a lot of strap locks out there. The wonderful folks over at LSL Guitars, they don't do strap locks as a rule, but they said, hey, if you pick them out and ship them to us, we'll put them on your guitar, whatever you want. And so I will say this, these are kind of big. That's kind of a big thing. Can you see that right there? LSL referred to these as ginormous. I don't know. I didn't mean to get anything that was bigger, but I don't know. They work. They feel good. Why not, man? Why not have strap locks? But I know there's other brands out there that are perfectly great. And I haven't. I was going to say I haven't used this guitar on stage. I have. Thursday night happened to be John Prine's birthday, if John Prine was still alive. My buddy and I went and we played at an open mic night. I haven't played at an open mic night in decades. In fact, the last time I played an open mic night, I was the host of the open mic. But in terms of showing up with my acts and like putting my name on the list, and you get to play 3 songs, and then it's someone else's turn. I haven't done that. I mean, it could be 30 years, easily 20 years. So and we happened to do a John Prine song, not knowing at the moment that it was John Prine's birthday, October 10. Now you know. Happy heavenly birthday, John Prine. And it was fun. It was fun. So this guitar, had its debut performance. My buddy and I brought our electric guitars. Everybody else was playing acoustic guitars, which sounded really great in this particular venue. And we thought, yeah, we should probably bring acoustic guitars next time. But it was fun to take this guitar out in public. Okay. Charlie Beagle says, so rock scales didn't exist before rockers like Bill Haley and Buddy Holly? No, they did. But they just didn't call them rock scales, right? So pentatonic, 5-tone pentatonic scales. Pentatonic scales, I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you how far back in musical history pentatonic scales go. But they go way back in musical history, for sure. Winston says, what did you play for your open mic night? Well, the John Prine song we played is a song called Paradise, Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay. Great song. We did some nice harmonies. If I say so myself, it's a 3-chord song. So we weren't going to do a whole lot on the guitars that were going to blow people's minds, but we did some nice harmonies. We did, Two of Us by the Beatles from the Let It Be album. The song Two of Us. It's a fun tune. When it gets to the bridge, I can't sing that high. So I sing everything but the bridge, and then my buddy sings the bridge. That's why it's fun to play with, multiple musicians, because otherwise, how do you find a song, you like the song, but maybe you can't sing it. There's some reason why you can't do the whole thing yourself, but then your buddy takes over. How cool is that? Very fun. And then the first song, it's not a big famous song, but I love the tune. Midnight Train by David Rawlings. Some of you know David Rawlings as the partner to Gillian Welch. We got some Gillian Welch fans out there. She and David Rawlings have a good thing going on for many years. Great tunes, great harmonies, and David Rawlings is such a cool guitar player. David Rawlings, Rawling. Oh, you know what I could do? Maybe I'll put links to those 3 tunes, to videos for those 3 tunes in the description of this video, just for the fun of it. And you guys can check them out. So we did our 3 songs: Midnight Train, Two of Us, and Paradise. And I thought we sounded pretty good. But 3 songs. Okay, next person, open mic night. We're just getting our act together, but it's a very nice bar. Oh, in case you're curious, the bar used to be a train station. They lifted the bar up, moved it across the tracks and set it down, and it became a bar, and then they built a new train station. So the bar is a converted train station. How cool is that, right? And the train tracks are right outside the back door. So a nice summer night, the sun's going down, back door's wide open to let fresh air in, and the train's going by. Very cool. Funny thing is, my friend and I were in a rock band together, and we used to play at this bar about once a month as a full band. And long story short, now we're back down to the first rung of the ladder, playing there at open mic night. And this bar is booked. It's not a glamorous place, but I believe the guy said they're booked up for 1 calendar year. Like for us to get a gig there, it would be next fall, next autumn. Crazy, man. Scott Rhodes is sharing a quote. Scott Rhodes says, in 2008, a vulture bone flute was discovered in a cave in Germany that dates back 40,000 to 60,000 years and is tuned to the pentatonic scale. So there you go. Maybe, if it came from the internet, it's true. So why not? And Charlie Beagle points out that it was probably Jethro Tull was probably the one playing it. Maybe the Jethro Tull of his time. Maybe so. Okay. Okay, okay. I'm making sure I'm not forgetting to answer your questions, Joseph. I hope my answer helped you with with your new copy of the book here. By the way, Joseph, to me, the arpeggios are super important. One thing that's fun about the arpeggios in this book is they very quickly get pretty jazzy. Whereas the scales, now that I think about it, the scales are all majors and minors and those minor pentatonics. Yeah, so the scales are not particularly exotic sounding whatsoever. It's the arpeggios that get into the jazzy kind of stuff and the chords. I would say arpeggios are the second most important thing to practice, and the chords actually are the least important thing. The chords can make you crazy because the chords. I don't want to discourage you, but it's hard to make an argument that all the work you do on all the possible chords in a book like this are 100% worth the effort. For a lot of us, I'm going to speak for myself, so much of the music I like is based on cowboy chords, C, A minor, G, F, D, bar chord versions of those, or like bluesy rhythm guitar patterns, that kind of stuff. I mean, I love hearing a great jazz guitarist and a great classical guitarist, but if you have half an hour to practice, I would focus on the scales and arpeggios for that half an hour and not worry about the chords. The chords, you can really end up going down a rabbit hole and getting your hand all cramped up and not want to discourage you. But if you're like me and you only have a little window of practice time, scales, arpeggios, you won't regret it. And then the chords are there waiting for you when the time is right, Yeah, Zamfir, beginning guitar lessons. Remember Zamfir's flute? How are we doing on our poll? Let's take a quick check-in. What's your number one goal in the guitar? For about 60% of you, you just want to play the guitar as well as you can, period. Excellent. About 1/4 of you want to actually write songs on the guitar. So you're thinking like a songwriter, which that's near and dear to my heart. And about 20% of you just want a cool hobby. And yeah, you found it. You found it. There's nothing cooler than playing the guitar. My wife and I will always remark on in TV shows, right? You're watching some TV. A TV show could be about any subject whatsoever, any typical made up TV show. They always have, they pan to someone's bedroom or someone's living room. There's always a guitar in the corner. Always, always, always. If you don't see a guitar in the corner of the living room, you're not looking hard enough. It's there. It's there, always. Maybe it's not there in the police station or in the prison cell, maybe. But if it's showing a residence, yeah, easily 50% of the time there's a guitar as a prop, to indicate what? To indicate that the person has some free time in their life. I don't know what it indicates. It's trying to make them cool, but we know that it is cool. It is cool whether it's whether someone walks into your house and sees your guitar or not. You're cool. Okay. Wow, John, is that right? Roy Smeck published a book with 4,400 chords. That's a lot. That's it's and I'm all for knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? But you got to draw the line somewhere. And I'll repeat the two reasons. For most of us, we don't have unlimited time. You want to use your time wisely. And secondly, the chords that show up in these chord dictionary kind of books and this book too, they can really ask your hands to do a lot of contorting. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Because you can get pretty stressed out doing a chord you're never going to use. Whereas scales and arpeggios don't make the same demand on your hand and wrist and arms and fingers, right? Because they are fluid, right? You're moving around. Whereas a chord, you're like that. So Yeah, Music Fan, our other moderator, Music Fan points out that they never show a guitar in a bad guy's house, right? Like a serial killer. There's never a guitar in the corner, right? That's a good point. In fact, let's go with that. If you're watching a police drama and they're got a warrant and they're checking out some guy's house, if there's a guitar in the corner, the guy's probably innocent, you know? And if there's no guitar in the house, then you might want to put your money on that person. You know, you might like them for the crime, you know. Val says, playing guitar helps ward off senile dementia. I'll be 80 in a couple of months. Got to keep practicing. Yeah, Val, I should have put that in the as one of the options. Well, that's fits the other category. Another reason to play the guitar, keep your brain sharp. 100%. 100%. Yep. One time a guy took a couple lessons from me. Scott, I'm reacting to your mentioning. Scott says, when I see guitars hung on the wall artistically, I wonder if they're ever taken down and played. A guy who took a few lessons from me, someone gave him an extra guitar. It's a pretty nice Paul Reed Smith guitar. And he already had some guitars, but somehow someone gave it to him or loaned it to him or gave it to him at a really low price. They just want to move it down the line. And because he didn't need another guitar, he had a guitar already, he ended up just mounting it on the wall above his fireplace, which you don't want to get any instrument too close to the fireplace. It's going to dry out the wood, right? Secondly, it's kind of a shame it's beautiful artwork and it's your right to do whatever you want with it. But I don't know, for a guitar to sit in the wall and never get played, I don't know. That's kind of a shame. Okay. So I'm going back to my agenda. I'm going to bang a couple things off of my agenda here. What I would ask a neuroscientist. By the way, a neuroscientist, to those of us lay people, a neuroscientist is someone who studies the brain, right? A neurologist is someone who helps you with your specific brain issue, right? So I'm sure I've used those terms interchangeably. Neurologist is who you see if you got a problem, right? Neuroscientist is who you chat with at a party when you have a bunch of questions like me. Although I don't want to underestimate what a neurologist how well they could answer these questions as well. Okay. So because my understanding is that music asks such interesting questions of the brain. The brain has to deal with so much when you play a musical instrument and read music and stuff and listen to music. I feel like the more we understand about how the brain is active while we play, the more we understand that, the better. Us non-scientists, right? Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw this up on the big screen because that might make this faster because I have so many questions, man. I have so many questions. Okay, bear with me, folks. Share screen. So these are questions that I would ask a neuroscientist. I hope you guys can see that. What are the chances that you can see that on the screen? See that? Yeah, look at that. Okay, now I didn't take the time to put these questions in any particular order. Now, some of these are very, very open-ended questions, and some of them are a little more specific. Some of these I kind of know the answers to, sort of, but I really would love, an expert's opinion. So in no particular order, I'm just going to start at the top of the page. When people talk about, students learn differently, what does it mean? What does it mean that students learn differently? And if every student learns differently, what advice do you have for teachers? Are there 3 different ways of learning? Are there 17 different ways of learning? Do I have to completely revamp everything for every student? Can I stick with like 2 different ways? When is it okay to push something a little bit? Like, well, maybe the student's not that type of learner, but come on, man, step up and just learn it. Not everything can be spoon-fed to you the way you personally want to learn it. Or is that a really negative attitude? And should teachers be a lot more careful, especially with a one-on-one teacher? Should a teacher be a lot more careful how they teach? Or should a student kind of suck it up and just, maybe you don't like diagrams, or you don't like whatever, kind of suck it up and learn it? I don't know. I don't know. What are the benefits of practicing an instrument? Notice I said practicing an instrument because, at least my next question, what's better for your brain, practicing a song or a scale or whatever, or playing? I mean, when you play something successfully, your brain is so happy. It's such a positive thing. But when you're grinding away and practicing and practicing and practicing, that has to be good for your brain, right? Are they as separate as I think they are? I don't know. Practicing something that you're not good at versus playing something that you are good at, those must be different experiences for your brain, right? They must be. Other than being happy, is there any benefit to playing music that you're already good at? It's relaxing, that feeling of success, but I don't know. Is frustration okay? How much frustration is okay? What would you say to encourage frustrated musicians? You grind away at something for an hour and you feel like you're not making any progress, but was it good for your brain? Maybe it was good for your brain. Is playing an instrument still a positive experience for your brain, or as positive, even if you don't read music? I mean, if you have a bongo drum and you bang your bongo drum along with the radio and you have a great time, of course, that's a positive thing. But is that as positive as a bongo drummer who's reading bongo drum music and they've studied bongo drum technique and then they're playing along with the music? Is that better in some way? You'd think it kind of would be, right? I don't know. Multitasking. Is multitasking positive? This relates to a book I read a while ago, a long time ago now, The Inner Game of Music. And they explained how, long story short, if you tap your foot while you play, if you tap your foot and nod your head while you play, if you hum along with the exact thing you're playing, you mimic what you're playing with your voice, all these multitasking things, the book argued that those are all positive things. It keeps you focused. The more things you do, as you play your instrument, the better. So is that true? I don't know. Here's another question. Why do we sometimes improve after a day off? You guys might have had that experience. You take a little time off, you come back to a piece, and sometimes you can play it a little bit better, even though you haven't practiced it for a couple of days. What the heck is up with that? And how do we bottle that and sell that? Is it true that playing an instrument and learning a language are the two best things you can do for your brain, especially as you get to be my age? You'll see when you get a little bit older. Are those, because that's what I've always heard. Now, and by the way, learning a language and playing an instrument, studying an instrument, like what does it mean exactly? So if learning a foreign language is super good, what do you have to do on an instrument that's the equivalent of that? I mean, the extreme thing is reading real music, playing with proper technique, working on a specific repertoire, very hardcore stuff. Or what if you're just a hobbyist and you like banging on some chords and singing along? You just want to relax and do that. Is that not as good as learning a foreign language? Is it just about the same? Does that still count? Is what I'm saying. Do the best musicians have different brains? And did the brain change in some way? Were they born? I mean, clearly some people are born a certain way. Was their brain sort of keyed into playing music from day one? Do brains change because we practice? I mean, our fingers do, right? You guys know you could play, you couldn't play an F chord and then you could play an F chord. The chord didn't change. The guitar didn't change. Your fingers changed, right? Well, does our brain must change, right? It must, doesn't it? As the months and years go by, does our brain change as we improve on our instruments? Why is it so difficult to sing and play at the same time? Not everybody, but a lot of people feel that those are two very difficult tasks to combine. Okay, here's an interesting one for a neuroscientist. Why do we make our weak hand do the hard job of fretting? Would we make more progress if we turn the guitar around the other way? And if not, why not? What's up with that? Why do right-handed people insist on strumming the guitar with the right hand? I mean, I have some vague theories, but what if from day one, someone said, don't do it that way. Your dominant hand has to do all the fretting. From day one, you never were allowed to play it the other way. Would we all be better because of that? How much practice is too much practice? You know, do you need to take breaks? Should you take a day off? If you sit down for an hour, should you take a break halfway through? Are we all different? And that's an impossible question to answer. I don't know. You play for 4 hours. Is that actually not such a great idea? Better play for 2 hours than go for a long walk and then come back and play for 30 minutes. I don't know. And the second to last one on the list, the last one right now. Now this is a personal one. If you're a good teacher, would you be good at teaching other things? I'm kind of curious about that. Is teaching a brain thing, right? That would help you be successful no matter what you teach. My dad said this to me one time. I think I said, I think I was talking about taking on a few piano students. I don't remember what it was though exactly. And he said, oh, well, if you're already good at teaching one thing, then you'll be fine at teaching something else. And he meant it in a very general sense because teaching is teaching. I thought, oh, thanks, Dad. So yeah. Anyways, okay, thanks everybody. Those are the questions, and I'm sure I would stop sharing. Okay, I'm sure I would come up with 20 more questions if I sat and thought about it for 20 more minutes. Anybody know a neuroscientist? I know there's books out there. Who did I just see? Oops, excuse me there. Someone posted that they were just reading a book on, so I saw someone in the chat. Hey, Randy. I thought someone said they were just reading a book on music and the brain. There's a lot of those out there, right? I own more than one book about music and the brain. I really should just read them, right? That would be a step in the right direction. Okay. Hey, are you guys ready for our play along song of the week? Let's do it. Let's do it. You will need a B minor chord. If you have any concerns about a B minor chord, start practicing right now. You can play it any way you want to, whatever you like with a B minor. But you're going to need it. Okay. I'm not going to say the name of the song because YouTube gets all freaked out if I say the name of the song. They immediately say, oh, well, they demonetized the video. By the way, my little experiment last week worked pretty well. I didn't say the name of the song, and the video didn't get demonetized instantly. Demonetized, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean I don't get any money from the video. It means that I'll be, whatever money is generated through the advertisements that you guys have to sit through, I'm going to be sharing it with whoever owns the song. And it really is hit or miss about whether or not the demonetizing happens. I don't know, man. It happens enough. So last week I didn't say the name of the song, and I didn't put it in the description of the video. I didn't type it in when the live stream was over, and I didn't get demonetized. So I'm not going to say the name of this one either. I'm going to sing it. Okay. I'll walk you through the structure of this. But you guys, straightforward tune. It's slow. What do you need? B minor, A, G, E minor. A D shows up. A C and C shows up. So what's that? Just a handful of chords. We're talking about this speed right here. 2, 3, 4. Just nice and steady, right? So you guys got this. Without a doubt, this song has some great guitar soloing. The guitar soloing happens. There's 2 guitar solos in this song. Those guitar solos, I love them, but they are beyond the scope of this portion of our live stream. This is the play along part of the live stream. So let's make this quick and then have some fun with it. Okay. In terms of playing the chords, the only chord I really want to say 2 things. I'm going to bug you to do G with the middle ring and pinky the way I always do, for one specific reason. This part of the song where there's lots of C's and G's back and forth, you'll be glad you're doing G that way. Okay. It's less significant here, but it's more significant later on. So my advice is just do G with your middle ring and pinky, especially if you're not very good at it. Here's your excuse to get good at it. Okay, B minor. To the best of my ability, I'm going to be doing B minor the way I always do it, which is kind of a fake bar chord. You take the most common way, the simplest non-bar chord way of doing B minor, right? Index, first string, second fret, middle, second string, third fret, pinky, third string, fourth fret, ring finger, fourth string, fourth fret. Okay, now I keep everything right where it is, except the index is going to arch over. I'm not doing a bar. I'm just arching over and putting all my pressure on the fifth string, second fret. That's the note B. Why am I not doing a bar? I don't like bar chords. I just don't like them. Also, by using the tip of my index finger, I'm extremely confident that that note is always going to ring nice and clearly. As soon as I start barring, there's the chance that I'll get that sound instead. We don't want that one, you know. Okay, now I arch my index finger just right, and I get a little bit lazy with it. So the skin for my index finger is actually dampening out the skinny first E string. Now, you do not have to do B minor this way, but you're going to see me doing it this way because I'm often going to be hitting that root note, that fifth string, second fret note. My pick is pretty much not plucking the skinny first string at all, but even if it did happen to hit that E string, it's being dampened out by the curve, by the flesh on my curving index finger. Okay, so in terms of physical skills, I mean, these are pretty straightforward chords. That's how I'm going to do B minor. You can do B minor however you want. Okay, in terms of the structure, for some of you, this will be the only part that kind of hangs you up. It's a pretty straightforward structure, but I like to get it on one piece of paper. And that means you got to keep track of where you are. Okay, so I'll walk you through the structure and then just do the best you can. Okay, so the intro, B minor for 8 counts. That's those little 4 things down there. So B minor for 4, B minor for 4 more, and that equals 8. So 8 counts of B minor, and then the lyrics, the singing comes in right away. Still on the B minor chord. So almost everything is 4 counts, except these G, E minor sequences. It's 2 Gs, 2 E minors. And you're going to see that that's going to happen on every verse. And the other exception is down here on literally have become comfortably numb. The end of the chorus is also 2 Cs and 2 Gs. Everything else you're on the chord for 4 strums, if not more than 4, like the B minors in the beginning, right? Okay, but I like to point out the rules and the exception. So 4 beats per chord, but the exceptions are those G, E minor moments, and there's a lot of them, and the C and G moment down there. Okay, in terms of the structure of the tune, intro, verse 3 times. 3 times, you in the back. You got to listen. Put your phone down. 3 times, okay? Chorus. There is no pain, you are receding. That part, right? The chorus, that line right there happens 2 times. And then this is sort of the punchline of the chorus. I have become comfortably numb, okay? So intro, verse 3 times, chorus 2 times, and you get to the punchline. The first guitar solo comes in. The first guitar solo is in the background. What we're going to do, what they do, it's as if you did the chorus in the background, but only 1 time, not 2 times. And then this part next, and the vocals actually come back in. So there's a guitar solo, and then I have become comfortably numb. That's how the guitar solo finishes. Okay, so solo over chorus, but only 1 time on this line of the chorus. Okay, then back for another verse. The song has 2 verses, so now it's time for the second verse. It's the same as this verse, but you only do it 2 times. Don't blame me. I don't know. They only did it 2 times. So the second verse, only 2 times, not 3 times. Then the chorus as written, 2 times there and this. And then the outro is another great long guitar solo. And the solo is on top of the verse chord changes. So you and I are going to just repeat those verse chord changes a little bit, and that will, in effect, represent what's happening at the end of the song. It happens a long time for over and over again at the end of the song. We're just going to do it a little bit. B minor pentatonic, if you want to solo along with this. B minor pentatonic gets you started, but David Gilmour is adding on a lot of pretty notes that are outside of the B minor pentatonic. And believe me, I would love to take that solo apart. It's a beautiful solo. I'm a big fan of David Gilmour's soloing style. But B minor pentatonic will get you started, but you'll notice that it's just not as cool as what he's doing. Okay. I think that's it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Now, I went to print out the lyrics, and my printer decided at that moment to run out of ink, which is fine. It's fine. I can have a workaround. Okay, let's get that right there. I always wonder if it matters much if you can see my fretting hand. I assume that there's a couple of you who are like, oh, what chord are we on? And it helps you to see my fretting hand. We'll see. You will hear me do a couple little walk downs occasionally. I can't resist G to E minor. Instead of just doing 2 Gs and 2 E minors, you might hear me go a little walk down. And the same thing, A going up to C is such a beautiful opportunity to A. Do a little walk up on the A string. Don't let that distract you, okay? All right. I think we're good to go. Hello, is there anybody in there? And hold on here. All right, let's do it. I'll see you on the other side. B minor, 8 beats to start off. 2, 3, 4. Hello, is there anybody in there? Not if you can hear me. Is there anybody home? Come on now. I hear you're feeling down. I can ease your pain, get you on your feet again. Relax. I need some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain, you are receding. A distant ship, smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. Your lips move, I can hear what you're saying. 2, 3. When I was a child, I had a fever. My hands felt just like 2 balloons. Now I got that feeling once again. I can't explain, you would not understand. This is not how I am. I have become comfortably numb. Guitar solo. To see. Two, three, four. I have become comfortably numb. Okay, just a little pinprick. There'll be no more. You may feel a little sick. Can you stand up? I do believe it's working. Good. That'll keep you going for the show. Come on, it's time to go. There is no pain, you are receding. A distant ship smoke on the horizon. You're only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child is grown, the dream is gone. 3, 4. I have become comfortably numb. All right, how'd you do? I think I stayed true to this. Pretty sure I did. Every once in a while I had to stop strumming to adjust the screen. What did I want to tell you? There's a couple things I want to mention. we ended repeating the verse chord changes, and that goes on a lot longer, under the guitar solo. Okay, it'll come back to me. The number one thing is there's no obvious rhythm guitar part. If you listen really closely, some headphones, you can hear some acoustic strumming in there, sort of like this nice light down up, which is great. I mean, I recommend doing that. Hold the pick loosely, keep your arm loose and relaxed, chukka, 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 down up, and keep counting your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm going to play acoustically for a second so you can hear the strumming a little more plainly. That might be too soft. Notice my picking hand. I'm not going anywhere above the fat string or below the skinny string. None of this, camp counselor kind of strumming. Sorry, were you a camp counselor? Sorry. None of this stuff, okay? I saw a guy doing that on my acoustic guitar one time. He was strumming the heck out of it. Say, can I borrow your guitar? Sure. And I see him doing this kind of strumming. He left some marks on the pick guard. Oh, like what? Who does that, man? Who does that? But my point, nice and light and relaxed. I mean, I'm barely hitting the two outside E strings at all, right? you know, to my way of thinking, those are some good pieces of advice. Very loose grip on the pick, very relaxed hand and arm, down, up, down, up, down, up, and keep your strumming very focused, right? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, there you go. Little Pink Floyd. I don't think we ever did a Pink Floyd song before. By the way, this is like, could this be our 50th? This might be our 50th or close to 50 guitar play-alongs. Here we are at live stream number 68. But this might be the 50th one. I counted, and then I lost confidence as I counted, but I think it might be 50. It's up there, high 40s. Okay, let's check in with our poll results. If you haven't, I see 31 of you in the live stream. If you haven't voted yet, let's see how we're doing here in our poll for tonight's live stream. Your number one goal on the guitar, holding pretty steady at 60%. Your number one goal is just to play the guitar as well as you can, 60%. 17%, you'd like to write songs on the guitar, specifically. Now, I know that these can overlap quite a bit, right? 17%, you're doing this because it's just a cool hobby and you want to have a cool hobby in your life. And 6% other. And J. Paul, yeah. J. Paul says he started to combat early onset of Alzheimer's, because they say you should learn something new, and start guitar. But now he loves it, and you want to play at the Glastonbury Festival. Excellent. Why not? Okay. Yeah, Joseph is pointing out that the guitar riff, sort of the bass and guitar riff from the Pink Floyd song Money, is pretty easy one to play. Yeah, right. I'll put that in the chat. There we go. It's a nice little workout for your pinky, because you got to use your pinky to reach up to play the high notes. Yes, thank you, Joseph, for that. Okay. Joseph, you know a neuroscientist, huh? In California? Well, let's get him on the show, man. Let's get him on the show. Okay, you guys, I'm chatting away here. Don't be shy about getting some questions in if you got a question. Okay. All right. So return to a couple of things I wanted to throw your way tonight. The guitar thing no one can do. Did that whet your appetite? Did that raise your eyebrow? And I mentioned what's the one guitar thing nobody can do. Now, some of you are going to groan when you hear me say this, and I'm okay with that, because it's just that important. The one thing that I see people struggle with, and it's so incredibly important. You ready? All right. The one guitar thing that people seem to not be capable of doing. Some of you can. Many of you cannot. You ready? Play something slowly. I wouldn't make a big deal about it, but some people, I'm just about having to get down on my knees and beg them. It's as if they can't slow down. Now, some of you can, and I see it once in a while. Someone take a deep breath, even before I say anything. Let's use the Money riff as an example. If you play something slowly, you're going to do it better. You're going to learn it. Your brain can process it, and it'll accelerate your progress on your instrument. Many of you, I'm speaking, broadly, and I'm speaking from a place of love. Many of you have no patience for playing something slowly, and it makes me crazy. But that's if I had to pick one thing that apparently is super difficult and many people cannot do it. It's to slow something down and just play it slower. Just play it slower. Do it for me, you know, if for no other reason, but also do it to prove you can do it. I jokingly say that my big qualification as a teacher is I can play something slowly so people can watch it, right? That's my big quality. That, and I can play an F chord, you know, any F chord. I can play the 4-string F. I can play the big bar chord F. I think those are 2 qualifications. You know, F, and be able to illustrate something nice and slowly. You know, John, you were asking about the strum pattern for comfortably numb. What I'm talking about is I'm going to use the very first B minor of the verse as an example. It lasts for 4 beats, 4 clicks. On every one of those 4 clicks, I'm going to think 4 watermelons. Watermelon, 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 watermelon. What my right hand's going to do is down, up, down, up. That's 1 watermelon. So in slow motion, that thing right there, that B minor, slow motion, turn this down a bit. Watermelon, 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 watermelon. I'd go on to the A, do the exact same thing. Watermelon, 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 watermelon. You don't have to keep saying watermelon. You can pick another 4-letter word, 4-syllable word. The G, E minor, watch out. 2 watermelons on the G and 2 on E minor. Watermelon, watermelon. In a perfect world, the right hand would never stop that, ever, ever, ever. And the left chord would just hustle to get the chords in time. But even if the left hand can't get the chord at the exact moment you want to, you don't stop the strumming. Easier said than done, I get it. But anyways, that's what I hear when I listen super closely with some headphones. At several points in the song, you can hear an acoustic guitar essentially doing that. Hello, is there anybody in there? Not if you can hear me. Is there anybody home? You know, and again, it's not distinctive. So that I call that liberating. If there's not a specific part that we have to do with our strumming hand, we are liberated. We can strum it different ways. That's this watermelon business. That was not how I strummed it when we did our play along, right? Because you don't have to, because number one, on the track, there's no distinctive rhythm guitar part. Secondly, I'm setting you guys up for a scenario such as barbecue, open mic night, just sitting on the sofa and jamming with a friend, right? So that's why I didn't do any fancy strumming when we did it together, because you don't have to. You don't have to. You know, you can't always get fancy, but you don't have to. My gosh, I might almost finish a beverage during our live stream. It's unheard of. I think I started a little bit before the live stream. I started drinking without you. My cider here. Okay. Other topics that I wanted to throw your way. What the heck is this? A new segment in our live stream. You can say you were here when we did the new segment of the show. The segment that I'm calling, what the heck is this? This may not be super important, but I'm going to put this white paper here because I think my camera really likes that white block of information. Okay, so what the heck is this? Is our segment. And I'm going to put my guitar down. A guy came into the shop just yesterday and wanted new strings for a guitar, and took the guitar out of the case. And internally, I asked myself, what the heck is this? It's a very cool guitar. But I've never seen anything quite like it before. Now, you guys know I'm a big fan of Yamaha guitars. And I have never seen a Yamaha guitar like this. What the heck? What's going on here? There's a lot going on in this Yamaha guitar. What the heck is this? So if you guys are so inclined, I don't have a year on this, but some of you little detectives out there, you could do a search for a Yamaha FG, as in folk guitar, FG 300. And maybe you can identify what the year is on this guitar. I don't see I don't see any serial number, but go ahead and see if you can find a Yamaha FG 300. You know, so what caught my attention was this crazy pickguard, which is just thick. It's like someone poured some thick maple syrup on here. That is one thick pickguard, man. That's outrageous. I just can't believe that's original to this guitar. I've never known Yamaha to do something kind of outrageous like that. Can you see this setup here? This brown bridge here, right, is almost certainly screwed into the top. And that's what those little inlays are for, to hide the tops of the screws. And then this whole setup. So the good news is this saddle is adjustable. In fact, there are six separate saddles for the 6 strings right there. And yeah, they're adjustable, but I've never seen that type of arrangement on any acoustic yet, let alone on a Yamaha acoustic. I mean, that's a serious metal bridge setup. And there's just a lot of metal involved, and I'm not used to seeing that on a guitar. The inlays are pretty cool in the neck here. I'm not saying Yamaha never does inlays, but I just had not seen that before. The fact that the headstock has this slight kind of V indent, pretty interesting. The tuning machines have been replaced, but even that's quirky. It's the Dobro brand of tuners back here. I don't know how you end up with Dobro tuners. I mean, Dobro brand tuners, unless they came off of a Dobro brand instrument. I never knew them to make aftermarket parts. Okay, the back of the guitar, a couple pieces back here. I mean, could that be rosewood? Could be rosewood with a nice little center strip that keeps it looking nice. Binding on the neck, binding all over the body. The truss rod cover looks like that. So any of you who are detectives out there, and if you're looking right now to help identify what year this is, I can tell you. We could also look to see when marijuana was legalized in Japan, and that's because this guitar was certainly designed by someone who's having too much fun. Now, is it possible it's not the original pickguard? Yeah, it is. But no, I don't know. I mean, it needs to be re-glued. I don't know, man. That could be well, the only reason I'm doubting if it's original, because I've never seen a Yamaha with that kind of pickguard before. And is it possible this is a replacement bridge, this whole thing? I mean, it's possible. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, well, the tuners have been replaced. So it makes me wonder what else has been replaced. It's a heavy, heavy guitar. Basically a dreadnought size, Okay, any detectives out there? Yeah, Joseph, that hummingbird kind of thing. Scott says he sees one from 1971. Okay, so Scott, the one you see, does it have essentially the same pickguard design? Does it have the same bridge? What the heck is this? And I like Yamaha instruments an awful lot. I mean, the older the better. I've never played a Yamaha. And you're asking me, Jonathan, what does it sound like? And I haven't even played anything on this. It's missing a string. It's in for new strings. It's not going to be in tune, I don't think. Well, it could be worse. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's up to pitch. It might not be perfectly in tune, but so here in the room, I mean, these are old strings. To be fair, they're old strings. But here in the room, it's a pretty dead sound. I mean, it doesn't have a whole lot of charm. The tone doesn't have a whole lot of charm. Someone brought this in for new strings, and the very nice gentleman, and little did he know that I would be inspired to show it to you guys and say, what the heck is this? Okay, so Scott says the one you found from 1971 online, there's no picture of it, but it does mention the flower pickguard. Okay. Yeah. So let's say ballpark this from 1971. Hey, why not? The neck feels good, and I just wonder if something else would make it sound better than just some new strings. I mean, if the bridge wasn't drilled, it wasn't bolted, into the top of the guitar, that would probably make it sound better. There's when I sight across, like flat across the top, I can see that it kind of bellies up right here a little bit, and it is concave, so to speak, in between the bridge and the sound hole. I see a concave kind of dip. So it's possible there's some bracing issues on the inside, and resolving those could make the tone better. But considering it's a big old guitar, it's not a particularly warm, beautiful sound. But you know what? Maybe with a little TLC, So I was tasked simply with putting some new strings on it. So I'm going to take the old strings off. I'm going to, with a very, very fine steel wool, I'm going to shine up the frets a little bit. Takes 60 seconds, not even 60 seconds. Get some of the grit, the grime off of the actual metal frets. I'll probably put a few drops of lemon oil and rub the lemon oil into the fingerboard. Let it soak in. Never, can't hurt. And wipe off any excess. Although my guess is that it's going to drink up all that nice lemon oil, and then wipe off any excess lemon oil, and then put the new strings on. And yeah, so there you go. What the heck is this? A Yamaha FG300, and yeah, let's say from 1971. Why not? Yeah, Joseph, it might need the truss rod adjusted. That's like I said, I was tasked simply with putting new strings. The action does feel pretty low. The neck is dead straight, so I don't know if it necessarily needs a truss rod adjustment. I know, like I said, I have one job to do, and I'll do that. You never know what's going to walk through the door, right? You never know. By the way, I keep hearing good things about Music Nomad guitar maintenance products, and someday I'm going to get some. But in case you're shopping around for good quality stuff to take care of your guitar, I've heard the Music Nomad stuff is good stuff. So why not? Why not? Yeah, RB says you've never seen that type of bridge on an acoustic guitar. I know. That was once I got over the pick guard. That was the other thing that caught my eye. Was that's just a lot of metal, man. I don't know. I in my 20s, I spent a decade working in a store that specialized in pretty good quality acoustic instruments at every price point. So, the best, $189 acoustic guitar you could get, the best $700, the best $2,000, good quality stuff, and took pride in it. So, so as soon as I see some goofy stuff like a pick guard that's, a half an inch, well, maybe a quarter of an inch thick, and weird, like it's such a turnoff, but it's like a car wreck. Like I have to look at it. Like what happened there? What happened there? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, there you go. You know what? Let's talk about recording for a minute. My little clickbait teaser was why do I record my mistakes? Why record anything? And this is personal to me because we'll tie it in with the new book. Okay, you guys know my new book. I made a corresponding video, so 30 songs and the video, which is up on YouTube right now. Don't go yet, but after the live stream, if you haven't checked out the video, check out the video. As I recorded each of the 30 tunes, I made plenty of mistakes, plenty. And sometimes the mistakes, most of the time, the mistakes were small, like string buzzes or a muted string or something like that, right? In a live performance, it might not even register my brain, but knowing that I'm recording, it made me crazy, right? You can't put a video out that has that sound. And I became aware that recording myself, in this case for this book, every note was equally important, everything. There's no, you can't play any wrong note. You can't fudge any note. No note is allowed to buzz or sound less than great at all. And for the most part, the video, for the most part, it sounds good, you know. But why do I record my mistakes? Why was that whole process? Why did that make me a better guitar player? It made me realize that I was in a scenario, I put myself in this specific scenario where every note mattered. And playing live, you know, every moment disappears, right? Something, you know, maybe it's, you hit a B minor chord, one of the strings a little bit muted, but I mean, in 4 beats, you're on to the next chord, you're singing, something's happening, like there's just no time to dwell on it. Plus, it's possible that when you had that little buzzy note, your buddy was banging on the banjo right then, and like, who knows if anyone even heard it, right? Not so with the recording. So why do you record your mistakes? Because it makes you better. It makes you better. It makes you realize that every note counts, and you can't fudge anything. That's a good scenario to put yourself in, so that when you are playing at church, at an open mic night, in the backyard, you have trained yourself to avoid those things. You're picking more accurately, you're arching your fingers better, all that stuff. So that when you're 2 beers in, you got your bratwurst and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you still are playing pretty darn well, because before the barbecue, you were practicing getting every note exactly right. So you guys know that I'm always going to encourage you to record yourselves doing anything. It's the equivalent of checking your look in the mirror before you go to the party, right? I don't know about you, but the things that I find in the mirror, some of them I can fix really quickly, you know, some of them. Like, oh, good thing I looked in the mirror. That's an easy thing to fix, you know? So you got to record yourselves. I've come across students who, a lot of students who really do not want to do it, and I tell them to do it. They kind of nod their heads, and they, yeah, I should do that. And months go by, and they haven't recorded themselves. I get it. It can be painful. It's worth it. It's worth it. You know. Well. So that's why you record yourself, because it doesn't matter what part of the song you like, what part you don't like, what chord you find to be an easy chord or not easy chord. Everything is equally important, as it should be. Scott is digging more into the Yamaha FG300. He says, the quote he found, the celluloid FG300 pickguard is known for degrading and crumbling, typically from being stored in a hot location. Many times it discolors the finish on the top and oxidizes the frets near it. Yeah. Well, then this one's in great shape. I mean, it just needs to be, it could be that the pickguard, the fact that the pickguard is coming unglued and has a waviness to it. That could be partly because some of the bracing has been compromised on the inside. So what I would expect a luthier to do is remove the pickguard, and get a mirror inside, like a dentist mirror, like a mirror inside you can see, and address any of the bracing issues and make sure that's stable. And in the meantime, do whatever magic it would take to make the pickguard as flat as possible away from the guitar. And so then when you do glue it back on, you're gluing something that hopefully is 100% flat again. But the bracing would be the number one thing. But in terms of degrading and crumbling, no, it's all one piece. It's just thick, man. It really, I don't know, it's too much. So can you get a look? I know it's coming unglued there, but can you see how that's just, I would say it's about, well, it seems maybe 1.5 times, if not twice as thick as what I would consider to be a typical acoustic guitar pickguard. Good times. That's a cool guitar. It's a cool guitar. And you know what? With a little TLC, it's going to sound just fine. And it has pretty low action. Yeah. Rock Lobster says, if I recorded myself, I'd scare myself away. Okay. So everybody, now we're not, I got to share something with you. because we got some time. Okay, my little teaser, free noise, free noise. Now, I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to throw some headphones on. Bear with me here. The BBC over in England put out, they have released, made available, their archive of noise. And that's what I'm calling free noise. Sound effects. You can, I'm going to put this link in the, I'll put it in the chat, but I'll put it in the description of this video as well. The BBC's archive of sound effects is now free and available to you and me. And the categories, I'll read you, they're in alphabetical order here. The categories, some of them include sound effects of aircraft, animals, applause, atmosphere, bells, birds, clocks, comedy, crowds, daily life, destruction. And those are just some. And these are thousands of sound effects. How fun. Now, my gut tells me if I play, I would tell you, I'll share this screen. This is either going to work, not work, or not work and shut down the live stream altogether because like it's just too much for the internet to handle. I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going for it. So I'm going to share the screen first. There we go. Okay. See that right there? All right. So let's go for, hold on. Am I going to, okay, I'm going to have to do it over back here. How about, how about daily life? I know some of you are like, that's the most boring sound effect. Okay, so this is the sound of a, see that right there? Market with some people in the background. Can you hear that? Let me know in the chat. If not, sorry. I can hear it. It works. It works. Oh, well, now I'm going to go nuts. Okay, now let's do some of the fun ones. If that works, all right, let's go right for destruction. All right, man, destruction. Where are we here? Come on, destruction. Okay. If any of you are triggered by the sound of breaking glass, I'm so sorry. Now is your warning to step away from your computer. Here's the sound of breaking glass, yo. Mom. Okay, that's probably enough. All right, what do you think? Stop there. All right, do you want that link? Sure you do. Okay, the BBC, free noise, courtesy of the BBC. So here is the link in the chat, copy, and let's go back here. Okay, I'll put it in the description. I saw that and I thought of you. Okay, how fun, how fun. So thank you, BBC. Yeah, with Halloween right around the corner, anybody having a Halloween party and you can put this stuff to use, you know? Yeah. All right. You're welcome. Thank you, BBC. And you're welcome from me to you. That's my Halloween present from me to you. Okay, what else is on our agenda tonight? Let's talk about who's in town. Oscar winner and Golden Globe winner, Billy Bob Thornton, in 2 days, right across the street. Billy Bob Thornton, and he's playing with a band called the Boxmasters, and they are labeling themselves 60s inspired rock. And so not our first Golden Globe winner in the neighborhood here in small town, Connecticut. Billy Bob Thornton coming in on Monday night. Who else is coming to town? Some people that I thought you might want to know about. There's a theater across the street, about 250 seats, and they book a lot of nice stuff. And in the description of this video, I'm going to put links to these two performers I'm about to tell you about. Anna Popovich, blues guitar player, Very cool. She's coming to town in a couple of days, Anna Popovich. So I'll put a link to one of her videos that I think you'll get a kick out of. Some very sweet Stratocaster blues guitar. If I remember right, it's a really cool looking silvery Strat, kind of special, looks kind of custom-y. She's coming to town this week. And Ricky Lee Jones. We got some Ricky Lee Jones fans out there. Ricky Lee Jones is coming to town. The link to the Ricky Lee Jones video that I'm going to put in the chat, it will link you to a thing she did in the early days of the pandemic. So it's her at home with a camera and a mic and just playing for, like people did during the pandemic, right? Very informal, And the reason I chose that particular Ricky Lee Jones video is it's just her and acoustic guitar, and she is doing chords that you know and love. It's just fun seeing a big name like Ricky Lee Jones right there doing B minor and D and A, and I think she's doing some pretty straightforward strumming, nothing, no fancy picking. So I thought you'd get a kick out of that. And she's coming through town here. So those are, I'm going to put Anna Popovich and Ricky Lee Jones links in the description of this video, the section that I call some of the coolest musicians on YouTube. And how about one more? I have mentioned this gentleman in the past, and I'm going to mention him again. Roy Buchanan, master of the Telecaster. What a fascinating player, what a fascinating guy. The reason why Roy Buchanan is on my mind, some of you might remember that Roy Buchanan played his final gig in the town of Guilford, Connecticut. And I drive right through Guilford, Connecticut on a regular basis. And I drive right past the fairgrounds where Roy Buchanan played his final gig. And every time I drive by, it crosses my mind, and he did not know that was going to be his final gig. I don't know. I'm just sharing it with you guys. It's really, if you're not familiar with Roy Buchanan, then now's your chance. And if you are, then you know what I'm talking about. The Roy Buchanan video I'm going to share with you in the description of this video is a live performance from Austin, Texas, from I think 1976. And it's not just his guitar playing that is remarkable, although it is extremely remarkable. He does an original tune that some of you might know called "The Messiah Will Come Again," and he's almost whispering the lyrics into the mic. It's so incredibly soft. I can't believe that it picked up his singing, which is more like a spoken word kind of thing. It's just a remarkable performance. It's a very unique song, and then his guitar playing is just outrageous. So Roy Buchanan, rest in peace. I think from one of the very first live streams more than a year ago, I said, it'd be cool is if there's like a little thing commemorating, his last live performance, which is totally weird. Who does that? I know. I get it. But if you're a fan of great, guitar players playing American music, country, blues, jazz, rock and roll, and just taking it to an extreme high level, it doesn't get any better than Roy Buchanan. We all have our favorite guitar players, and we should, but it doesn't get any better than Roy Buchanan. So he was on my mind recently, so I thought I would share a link to one of his live videos. And fortunately, there's a lot of Roy Buchanan stuff out there, including interviews, like a documentary film that you can watch on YouTube and so on. So there you go, Roy Buchanan. And like I said, I'll put all this stuff in the description of this video. Okay, I got a dumb question for you. I try to come up with a dumb question every week because number one, no question is a dumb question. Number two, you might have a question that you're hesitating to ask because you think, that's a dumb question. My friends, my dumb question for you for this week. Dumb question is, what's the best thing to practice? If you had to practice one thing, if you have 20 minutes, what's the best thing? What do you think? Kind of a dumb question. Like, I don't know what the best, practice whatever you want, man. I don't know. Another response would be like, well, what are you aiming to do? What can you already do? What's your favorite song? I don't know. Like, how do you answer that question? It's a dumb question, right? What's the best thing? But, okay, but seriously, what's the best thing to practice? Especially if you have limited time, or if you want to become a better guitar player by doing the same thing for 10 minutes a day. You know, what do you think? What's the best thing to practice? And even if you have 2 hours a day, you got to divide that time up somehow. You want to be structured with how you divide up that time. You don't want it to be random, right? You know, so I don't know. Let's put it in the chat. I see some of you are putting in some things already. Blair, I see what you wrote. Excellent, Scott. Yeah. So feel free to put in, you know, what would you tell someone? I mean, a lot of us know beginner guitar players or people who are curious about the guitar, because they come to you, they know you're a guitar player, and they think, oh, you know, I want to, you know, I think I might start playing guitar too. So if they ask you, what should I practice? I have half an hour tomorrow. Show me one thing I should practice. What would you show them? You know, I'm curious. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Randy says, I love Roy Buchanan. He did a wonderful live version of Hey Joe. Yeah. And Gary Moore did a cover. You're right, J. Paul. Gary Moore did his own version of this Messiah Will Come. Oh, with no singing at all. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, the singing you got to hear as a performance with a guy standing with a band behind him and an audience in front of him. It's a really, it tells you a lot about Roy Buchanan, that was his idea of a cool thing to sing, quote. That he was just a different dude. Roy Buchanan was his own kind of player. Very interesting life that, you know, didn't have to end the way it did. I don't know. I'll let you guys do some research into Roy Buchanan if you're so inclined. Okay, now, speaking of using time wisely, how about if we talk about the major blues scale, and I'll see if there's any more. Oh my gosh, I haven't even talked about my book. Okay, buy the book. It's right there, right? And I'm talking about like everything else under the sun. Okay, let's talk about this book for a second. The book is done. It's available at my website, www.song-bike.com. 30 songs in the chord melody style, meaning it's a combination of strumming chords very specifically and individual notes and individual strings. Strum, ding, ding, strum, ding, ding, right? In a nutshell, it's a complete musical statement. You don't need a singer because you are the singer. You don't need someone strumming the chords because you're doing that too. You're playing the chords and the melody, and that's why it's called a chord melody arrangement. I did not invent this. This has been around forever. Johnny Smith, great jazz guitar player, Johnny Smith, is typically regarded as the guy who like really took chord melody playing to an extremely high level many years ago, many years ago. But people have continued to do it forever. By the way, Johnny Smith, fun fact, he wrote the song Walk Don't Run, right? But the Ventures and all the surf people, they surfed it up. But it's still kind of fun well, it's definitely fun to go back and listen to how it started before it turned into right? Walk Don't Run, right? So, okay. So chord, I digress. Chord melody playing. I'm going to open up. Ooh, Georgia on My Mind. There we go. That's what it looks like. I know you can't see it super clearly. So it's 30 tunes, simple chords, you guys. G, B7, E minor, simple stuff, you know. Okay, my sales pitch for doing this is not just that it'll make you a better guitar player. My sales pitch is that this is what people want to hear. The people in your home, in your life, they don't even know it, but this is what they want to hear, because it's not a little riff. It's not chord strumming waiting for the singing to come in. Like I said, a complete musical statement. Georgia on my mind. Can I do this? Sure. Bear with me for a second. So instead of just the melody, here's just the melody. Hear that in there, right? Georgia, Georgia. I mean, it's nice, right? But where's the band? It sounds thin and not good, right? I gotta flip around this strap. But if I just strum the chords, then someone better sing it or someone better play the melody, right? But we're gonna do both. Okay. So instead of just going Georgia, I'm gonna go, hear that chord strum? It sounds so good. Oh my God, it sounds so good. Oh, and it's easy. Oh, it's so easy. Now, I know a minute ago I said when I did the video, it took me a while because a note wouldn't come out totally clearly. Yeah, but that's different. That's like recording it. But I can picture someone listening from the other room as you go. Oh, it sounds so pretty, right? So this is what your friends and family want to hear you do. Even if you can play the intro to Stairway to Heaven, that's awesome. You can play the intro to Sweet Home Alabama. That's great. That's great. But in like some of these are 1 page, some of them are 2 pages, most of them are 2 or 3 pages long. And it's just not hard stuff, you guys. You got Beatles songs, folk songs, a couple of Christmas songs, Tom Waits, Sting, Cat Stevens. What else? Summertime, Turn the Page, Bob Seger. Some folky tunes like Wild Mountain Time, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, The Water Is Wide, The Tennessee Waltz. So this book officially went on sale yesterday. But there's plenty of copies left. You know why? Because it's not a real book. It's an electronic book. So you purchase it and it comes to you instantly as a big, long PDF. I guess it's about 80-something pages. So you could get this book in 60 seconds. By the way, if you order the book and you don't get an email right away with a book attached to the email, it's something must have like you must have typed in your email address wrong or something like that. Because I haven't had any complaints so far. So yeah, now this book does not come in the mail. Don't wait out by your mailbox. It's not that kind of book. Just so you know, I went to my local printer, Staples, and to print it out with a nice spiral binding and a nice thick back cover, nice thick front cover, I paid about, let me think, with tax, everything, about $27. So, I mean, I did it for me because I like to hold on to it. I can use it, for teaching and stuff. But it's kind of a lot of money, plus shipping and stuff, So, I saved a little money because I had some rewards points from Staples. I used a coupon, so it'll probably be a little bit more than $27. So print out whatever pages you're working on. You don't have to print out the whole book, or don't print it out at all. Just on your computer screen, there it is, save a tree, like that. Anyways, I'm super proud of this book. Lots of good stuff. And the video of me playing all 30 songs is on YouTube right now. That's free. And my gift from me to you, the video has no ads, 0 ads. In fact, personally, I've been putting on the video and listening to it as background music because it's 30 instrumental guitar songs in a row. The video is like 45 minutes long. I forget. Because I do some of these songs are pretty short, so some of the songs are actually under a minute, like say The Water Is Wide, the folk tune. So I think the video it's under an hour, whatever it is. it makes nice background music. I kind of like having it on as background music. You just put on video. The reason why it's not monetized and there's no ads in the accompanying video, I was pretty confident I would get, oh, in fact, I did. Before, when I uploaded the video, I uploaded it with, no monetization, meaning no ads, right? I still got 2 emails that said essentially, well, if you ever do monetize it, you can't. you won't get the money you were hoping to get. And the 2 emails I got right away, the video wasn't even monetized. I got it from Bob Dylan's representatives, because there's a beautiful Bob Dylan tune in there called Make You Feel My Love. And who was the other one? I'll have to get back to you on that. And this is for a video that never was monetized, and they're already telling me, don't do it. Don't even think about it. So I figured there's 30 songs. Many of them are copywritten tunes, Sting, the Beatles, Tom Waits, and so on. That it would just be a nightmare. Like I would get email after email telling me I would be sharing the copyright, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, all boring stuff. So no ads, 0 ads. Put on the video and listen to it as you do whatever you do. And I think honestly, it makes kind of nice background music, and I mean that in the best sense, So you can play every song in this book. No bar chords. All the songs are relatively slow, or at least they sound perfectly fine at a slower speed. I don't know. I mean, I picked songs that just aren't that challenging, and I kept it that way. I didn't look for ways to make things harder than they needed to be, Volume 1, my friends. I can't wait to do volume 2. I love this stuff. I love it. I don't know why it took me so long to finish it. I just matter of finding the time here and there. But I can't wait to do number 2. Anyways, that's my sales pitch. Okay, that's my sales pitch. How about if we end on that note? We'll save a few things to do for next time. Tomorrow's Sunday. Very cool way to spend your Sunday. 30 cool songs. Find your favorite one here on my YouTube channel. Oh, the video is time-stamped, so you don't have to hunt. Say you want to do a song in the middle of the book, like, All 55 by Tom Waits. The Eagles recorded it, but Tom Waits wrote it. All 55. You guys know that song? I love that song. Or Norwegian Wood, right? Say you want to do Norwegian Wood. Go to the description of the accompanying video, and you'll see where you can jump right to Norwegian Wood. So you see a close-up of me playing it, note for note, the way it's written here. And easy peasy, And one thing I'm super curious about, once people have the book and they, spend a week or 2 with it, I'm curious what songs are the favorites. I'm just curious about it. And I know some of you have it already. Randy, thank you for getting your copy. $24.95, Winston. The book is $24.95. And it arrives in your mailbox instantly. It's PDF form, right? So you can make things bigger. I try to use pretty big font, if you know what I mean. There's like Let It Be. 'Cause I'm very nearsighted, so I'm sensitive to when music is small. So I try to make it, pretty darn big. But it's nice to know when you get it on your computer, you can make it as big as you want. Okay, so that's what I've been. That's what I did my summer with my summer. The SongBike Chord-Melody Songbook Vol.1. Yeah, so fun. It was fun for me to do it. I can't wait to do more, and I'm curious as to which ones you guys gravitate towards. A bunch of these, I don't know, maybe 20% of the songs were requests from live streamers, bikers just like you, song bikers. And that was fun for me to say, okay, let's see, how can I do that song as a chord melody? Well, let me, and just so you know, every once in a while someone asks me about how do you do it? How do you take a song and turn it into a chord melody version? You have to know, you start with the chords. Let's say it's a song that only has 3 chords, hypothetically, G, C, and D. Let's say you have all the lyrics and you know exactly which chord goes with which lyric. So, you have a G chord and then you know exactly when it changes to C and so on, right? So that part is, you have no doubt about that, what the chords are and what the lyrics are. What you have to investigate then is where the melody is hiding in the chord. So let's say it's a G chord. Is the singer singing, that skinny string note? Is the singer singing the second string, open B string, or like where the melody note is in there? And then you're off to the races, Then it becomes a weird type of engineering or I love it though. I love it. It's where's the melody and where should the chord strum go to support the melody? Where does it sound the best? And frankly, I ask on all 30 songs, I ask myself, how easy can I make this and have it still sound good? In fact, that's my number one criteria. Oh, but it has to be in the same key as the original. Sometimes that means you have to capo it. Those of you with eagle eyes, you will see, okay, here's Send in the Clowns, old Stephen Sondheim, but in fine print it says capo at the 3rd fret. Why would you want to capo at the 3rd fret? If you want to play along with, the original versions of these tunes. I forget whose version. It must have been Barbra Streisand's version I referred to here. So that was my thought process. How can I make these as easy as possible, but still sound like something you'd be proud of when you practice something for a week or two and you let someone hear it from the other room and you make sure they can kind of hear as you're playing it. You want to sound good, right? You don't want it to sound like a dumbed down version of the tune. And these are definitely not dumbed down at all. In fact, if I had to dumb down a tune, it wouldn't have been in the book because I didn't want to do that. I want to make them as true as possible. Oh, Carole King almost killed me, man. The last song in the book, You've Got a Friend. Carole King, it's one of the longest ones too. Is it 5 pages with a bunch of repeat signs and stuff? I want to capture the subtleties she was doing with her voice as she sang it. I want to capture those without going too crazy. So, but I didn't want to dumb it down, It came out great. I love it. It came out great. So I hope you guys like it too. All right. On that note, we did what we came to do. My cider is, it's gone. That's all right. I know where there's more. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I want to say thank you to Beginner Guitar Lessons. I want to say thank you to my wife, Music Fan 1004, for being our moderators. Hi to my mom. Mom, if you're watching. Hey, Mom. My son had his first swim meet of the college season. He's a sophomore. And I couldn't be there to watch it, but I saw it online a little bit. And I think he had a pretty darn good swim meet, the first meet of his college swim season sophomore year. So a pretty decent Saturday here on the East Coast. Yeah. All right, you guys. Have a great week. Come on back and watch the parts of this video that you might be interested in, whether it's the play along or that thing with the FDA. I'm going to timestamp it all. Mostly I'll be doing it tomorrow morning. But I'll put it a little bit tonight. Oh, check out the links. Roy Buchanan, Anna Popovich, Ricky Lee Jones. Check out the links I'm going to put in the description right now. Get yourself a copy of the book and check out the video. I think you'll get a kick out of it. All right, Blair says adios. Adios, Blair. I want to say a few good nights. Good night, Blair and Charlie. DAC, Poet, Deborah. Good night. A to Z, me. Good night. Randy, Winston, Rock Lobster, Joseph, RB, Theo. Good night. Who else? Theo, I see your question about Stairway to Heaven. You're working on Stairway to Heaven. Not an easy tune, man. Not an easy tune. There's no real shortcuts. I'll say this, Theo. If you go back to live stream 59, we started doing Stairway to Heaven in the live streams. And for about 5 live streams, we did one piece at a time of Stairway to Heaven. So if you go back to all these live streams are saved in a playlist, a live stream playlist, and you can actually teach yourself all of Stairway to Heaven, except for the crazy guitar solo at the end from these live streams. I recommend it. All right, Charlie Beagle, good night. John Cavallo, Don. Oh yeah, so what would you, if you practice only one thing? Scales. Yeah, I know it's a boring answer. If someone said, what's the one thing I should practice? Yeah, scales, major scales. Can't go wrong with major scales because all the other scales are related to major scales in some way, you know. That's the answer in case some of you are waiting for an answer. All right, you guys, take care. I'll see you next Saturday. We're getting closer and closer to Halloween. Good times. Have a great week. I hope you have a chance to play the guitar. Hope you enjoy a little sunshine tomorrow. It's Sunday. My weekend begins now. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.